Very good morning to all. I, Shravan Sable, want to welcome you all in the first session of day 3 of 1 week faculty development program. This particular section will be chaired by Dr. Atul Gupta sir of Triple ITDM Jabalpur, and his topic for the session will be natural language processing. Dr. Atul Gupta sir is working as a professor in CSE department of Triple ITDM Jabalpur. He did his PhD in year 2008 from IIT Kanpur. His MTech is of the year 1993 from IIT Roorkee. His area of interest are software engineering, machine learning, natural language processing, and many more. He has published various papers in reputed journals like Elsewhere, Springer. Also, he has published more than 30 papers in reputed international conferences, including IEEE. He has guided various research and MTech scholars. I again welcome you, sir, and want to hand over the session to you, sir.
So thank you, Dr. Savle, and very good morning to all the participants. Let me share my slides. So the topic of the today talk is natural language processing, and particularly I will be focusing one important, very popular class of applications, which are called text classifications. So as you know, all of you, like the text data is enormous, right? I mean, a study suggests that out of the data that is available across the globe, like more than or around 80% of the data is unstructured, and most of this unstructured data comes from text, right? So we have huge text data, and nowadays, I mean, this course is on, in some sense, like machine learning, and probably you know that rather than contrary to our understanding or our understanding of solving problem, we started solving problems from using the data. So here the solution is like is not handcrafted. Rather than the solution is obtained by asking the data. I mean, if the data can reveal those kind of information, right? So data is going to speak out itself. Now, how you're going to make data to speak out, and that's like the trick, and that's what like this whole business of or domain of machine learning out there. And you know that last 5-7 years, like deep learning has made tremendous progress, and this area has gone so volatile that I mean, you publish a paper using some deep learning architecture, and maybe like in next month or maybe in 6 months, you get another paper which is like claiming a better results with another architecture, deep learning. So you see, things are on the move and highly dynamic. I mean, I can recall my talks on natural language processing. I mean, in 2017 and 18 and 19, and I can figure out that some of the part of the talk is getting like obsolete because there's like new results have come. So so today I'm not going to discuss on like what are the recent trends per se. I'm going to more of like going to introduce you what is NLP, what are the challenges or the tasks or the problems in NLP, which are fascinating ones and motivating people to work in the area of NLP. And then we will focus on particularly the task of text classification. So when we talk about NLP, there are two important tasks that comes in our mind. One kind of them is like understanding what has been written or what has been said in NLP, in natural language processing. I hope when we say NLP, natural language processing, I mean, it's like any natural language that we can think of. It can be English or Hindi or. So, I mean, traditionally, people making computer work, they were instructing computers to write their instructions in some formal way, right? In some using some programming language, right? And till date, this has been the trend that whatever we do, I mean, we make use of programming languages, some programming language like Python, Java, C# or whatever. And we write code, and that code will get executed on the machine and will do the intended task, even if like the machine learning applications that we write is using some language. Now the question is like why we need any foreign language to interact with the computer or to impart instruction or to get some work done by the computer. Why not? It is like in our own mother tongue, right? So this is like a kind of fascinating thinking or thought that fascinates people about like can we write programs, can we instruct computers so that they can do the intended task, irrespective of whatever language or natural language that you use, right? And you can see like in the last 3-4 years, we have seen this trend is like machine has started recognizing human instructions, like not in a particular format or in a particular programming language, but rather than in natural language itself. So you see like Siri or Alexa, these bots, I mean, they can interact with you in some natural language, particularly let's say English, right? So we have reached to a state where machine has started understanding. So I guess the day is not far when we can start giving instructions, writing programs also like in natural language. But this is not the day where when this it is going to happen. I mean, we have to wait for some time. But NLP has made such a progress. So as I said, there are two important part or tasks involved here. One is the natural language understanding. So that is the, I mean, when you think about a human, how human communicates, right? So there are again two part of the communication. One is like the understanding part, that somebody else is saying something and that human can understand that. And then the second part is like the human is going to spell out some information which is to be communicated, right? So that is nothing but the natural language generation. So these two part together will be basically a kind of like landscape for natural language processing. I mean, natural languages are there for ages, right? I mean, these are very fundamental to human existence on this earth, and having so much of progress. I mean, without any natural language, just think about it, I mean, people cannot communicate with each other. So that's very fundamental. And there have been like instructions, like instructing computers in some way, some or other way to get some work done. And then there were like a lot of speculation about that. Can be there a day where people can instruct machine in natural language, and this has been understood as I mean for quite some time. I mean since the inception of the computers, it has been, I mean, the typical thinking has been for quite some time that it is hard to use some natural language. I mean, you have to have some formal languages derived from some context-free grammar, and then that can be interpreted by the computers, right? So this is all sorts of like programming languages and go on. But until recently, I mean, this is a very historic day in the area of NLP on February 16, 2011, that IBM Watson, this is like this IBM supercomputer, won the Jeopardy challenge. So what is Jeopardy? It's like a network program, just like we have Kaun Banega Crorepati. Just like it is also like a general knowledge questionnaire show where the facilitator would ask question to the contestant, and then they will be answering, and based on that they will be scoring something. So this day, the IBM Watson has competed with the two previous winner of Jeopardy challenges, right? So I mean, two winners of them. and this computer defeated both of them, right? So this was a day where, I mean, it has made people like started believing that if it is possible, then there can be many things which can be possible, and many impossible things which have been thought earlier. I mean, it sounds like they are going to be get resolved. I mean, get solved. So there's like just one question, and this is how the computer will answer. There's another like example of like the progress that we have made is like you see that you send mails to people, and there are some kind of like event which is going on. So Google Assistant can record this kind of information from the mail. So the Google Assistant can extract the event information and can record it and can make the entry in the calendar, in the Google Calendar, and that can remind you that this is what the event is. So it is happening seamlessly without you, I mean, getting involved. Your assistant is actually recording all these cycles. This is wonderful. Like, can we have an assistant of that nature that it can understand our requirement in terms of like what are our professional engagement, and can remind them as and when the time comes, right? Another area where like there's been a lot of progress, which is like, as I said, there's a lot of unstructured text that is available on internet, right? And obviously this text contains a lot of information. But the thing is, till quite some time, I mean, till I can say 2010 or 2012, it was found to be like a difficult idea that somebody has to read that those documentation, those texts, and then figure out. So it was considered as intellectually involved task for quite some time. But a lot of those kind of tasks is now getting resolved by writing programs. I mean, by applying machine learning and solving those kind of problems. So you can see here, one area is called information extraction, where I mean it can get you some important information from unstructured text and make it structured. So now the structured data is more amenable to process further, right? So this kind of things can be performed. So for example, in this on the slide, you can see on the left there are some information in the form of running text, which is considered as unstructured data, and then you are able to extract the information. Your program can extract this kind of information, which can be used further, right? So